Chuck Blair here. Great to have you joining me this morning. And today we're going to be talking about containers as part of our Lenten devotional here. And a Lenten devotional, it's leading us up. We're getting closer and closer to Easter itself. And it's a time where we go through a lectionary. In other words, go through a standard set of readings shared by a lot of churches. And we take each day to just reflect and then keep on taking a step closer and closer in towards Easter. And today, what we're looking at is the idea of the law, the idea of containers, the idea of finding the edges to things, finding the edges. And finding the edges, the idea comes down to this great quote, one of my favorites. It's from an old football coach, and this coach said many years ago, "A river without banks is a puddle." And I love that idea, right? A river without banks is a puddle. And how do we find those edges? How do we find the right sort of places, so to speak, that are on the edge, that really do make a big difference out there in the world? And what I want to talk about with finding the edges here today is I want to read for you a line on how Jesus holds the law. Think of that as spiritual regulations. And then what I want to do is then I want to talk about how can we hold the law, quote unquote, and think of that as structure, think of that as the edges of the river. How can we hold it in a life-giving way? So that's what we're going to go ahead and start with here. This is from Matthew 5, verses 17 to 18, and this is Jesus speaking. Jesus said, "I have not come to abolish the laws, but to fulfill them." And there with fulfill could mean to complete or bring them to perfection. "Not the smallest letter of the law shall be done away with until it all comes true." So he's speaking this into a culture that had, over 600 what's called the Levitican laws, and it's laws that go into a lot of minutia of life. And Jesus is saying, "Hey, I'm not trying to get rid of all that stuff. I'm just trying to sort of fulfill all that stuff so we can see the point of it all." And it's important to remember, folks, that in our culture, it's so easy to say, well, we don't actually need laws or structures or anything like that. Everything should just be completely free form. And for any of us who have raised kids, we know that doesn't work terribly well. I think of myself as a former teacher, and it just was interesting watching the students. If a substitute teacher came in, those of you who have public school backgrounds remember these days, and it was like a free for all. And guess what? No one had fun. The substitute teacher didn't have fun. The students didn't have fun. We all sort of need structure to just help us feel calm and like we can move forward in our lives. And I using this as a little prop, which I thought this morning, this idea of this beautiful little candle jar. I was given this, a number of years ago. I like candles, and I was given this a number of years ago as a Christmas gift. And it has on the outside, it has a structure and it has a light on the inside. Now, that light, in a certain sense, does depend on the structure, right? It needs to have it, or this wax would be just all over. So the light sort of depends on the structure, but the structure has to remember its role too. Its role is to hold the light. It's really important. Its role is to hold the light. It's not to be the light. It's to hold the light. And where I see churches get into trouble, or any kind of religious body, is when they become too enthralled with the structure, where the structure, the laws, all that stuff, that becomes the be all and end all. No, all the structure is a means to an end. It's just a means to an end. And that's what we need. That's what we need to think about a lot, right? We need to think about that a lot. We need to hold it, and understanding that the structure can actually help that light to grow. I mean, a famous one. This goes back thousands of years. One of the big gifts of Judaism, like 3,000 years ago, they had this beautiful statement, which some of you have heard: an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That was sort of what the judicial system was based on. And again, we look back at that several thousand years ago, and that sounds so barbaric: eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But we forget that structure was this quantum leap forward in moral development. So what does that mean? Well, it used to be like you would wipe something bad would happen, you'd wipe out a whole tribe. Well, here's something saying, no, it's just limited to the person who did it. And again, we've continued to evolve that, thankfully. As Gandhi said, if we go by an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, we're all going to end up blind and toothless. And I thought that was very true. It's about, folks, how do we sort of set the structures in our life? How do you set the structures in your life? that really do allow that light to shine. And it's about setting the structures, not falling in love with the structures. And how do we do that in a way that's really life-giving? I mean, just a simple one, I try to practice, and I need to admit, I usually fail at it. If we have 5 kids, if I haven't heard from them over the course of a week, I try to call or text or just have some little touch point. That's like a little structure thing for me. And again, I fail at it often, so that's my bad. But that's a structure that's trying to hold the light. And what might that be for you? Where might you need some edges that help the river flow, that help you to move forward in life? Because again, folks, Easter, um, Easter is it's not all Easter baskets, I guess what I want to say. It's not all chocolate and jelly beans. It's like have it have some gravitas to your life and have it find some places where you can find some structure that makes a difference. I mean, maybe it's around giving, financially giving somewhere that you want to start up and you want to start to get more disciplined about. Maybe it's around a consistent phone call that you want to make. Maybe it's a consistent appointment you want to make with someone like once a month and we're going to meet, we're going to chat. Whatever it is, like find that container, folks. Find that container and be aware of the light in it and really think through what are the containers that can really hold the light in our lives. I hope it's not too esoteric. I think it's again, like as a former teacher, it's super important. People actually, believe it or not, they push against the rules, but they need them, and we all need them, and we all need them as a way to move our lives forward and to hold the light. The trick is, again, just don't fall in love with the container. The container is all about holding the light, preserving the light. It's not an end in and of itself. So that's my thought for today, dear friends. And yeah, feel free to leave a comment. I know a number of you leaving comments on some of our different platforms, which is wonderful. And I try to get to those throughout the course of the day. We've had somebody tune in from the British Virgin Islands yesterday in the afternoon, and that was kind of fun to hear from her. So feel free to leave comments anytime with any thoughts you might have. It's again wonderful to hear from you folks. So with that, friends, with that, brothers and sisters, let's just allow God's Spirit a little bit into our thought today. So let's get a big breath, and then we're going to do a little meditation, then we're going to do a little prayer, then we're going to do a little blessing, and then I will give a little cheery hello to some folks as well. So with that, friends, let's all get a big breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and bring you peace and bring you home. Amen. All right, friends. Well, let's give a little cheery hello to folks. And again, wishing everybody a great day. And certainly my hope for you is that you are seeing spring having sprung. We're starting to see that up here in the Philadelphia area, which certainly is beautiful. Like even this morning, just watching the waking up and looking out of our bedroom window and seeing all the little buds there were certainly beautiful. All right, friends, let's give a little cheery hello to folks here. Martha, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well. Tori, hope you're doing well, and you guys must live in an area that's just beautiful in the spring. Susan, good morning, and great to have you joining us. Paige, good morning to you, my friend. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for coming to that meeting on Sunday. It looks like you guys had some great notes. It was good stuff going over this morning, actually. Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. Gene Wright, sorry to miss you yesterday. Ryan came over, enjoyed the candle example. Yeah, Ryan is one of my former students right there who knows a little bit about discipline. Good stuff. Sherry writes, hello from Abingdon, Virginia. Good morning to you there, Sherry. Betty, good morning, New Church Live friends. Have a blessed day. And same to you, Betty. Hope you're doing well. Marianne, good morning to you. I hope you're doing well as well. For me, the deepest challenge occurs when personal structures to make the world a better place and evolve and become increasingly at odds with core structures of religion that insist that their rigid structures are needed to make the world and individual lives better places. Yeah, Carl, that is so true, and it's sort of the I don't know, it's the dark side of faith, right? I really enjoyed the longer Facebook Messenger post you sent, Carl, and it really is tough because churches can fall in love with structure, and the structure becomes the be all and end all. And it's constantly remembering folks, like, I think this candle analogy, I think it's really important, right? Like it's so critically important to remember that the structure is there to hold the light. That's the important. We can't ever fall so in love with the container. What God is constantly asking us to do is to fall in love with the contents, and that doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form. Like it's gotta really come down to love. Love of everyone, love of including female voices, love of including voices from all across the spectrum, and we have to do that. So sorry for my little rant, but I feel very strongly of that. Sherry writes, 10 minutes is my favorite structure. Yeah, and it is kind of funny, right? Like I have a meeting coming up with someone about some small group stuff. And a lot of it is just the consistency, is just the showing up. It's just where we just have these structures that we just know are there, and they make a big difference. And this one makes a big difference to me as well. So thank you for saying that. And Caroline out there in the Midwest, happy day to all, she writes, and happy day to all of you folks as well. And that's what we'll close with, and again, think about the structures that give life and hold the light. That's our thought for today. Take care, folks. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.